I still remember the first time she looked at me. Not in the casual way people glance at strangers, but in that strange, silent second when eyes meet and linger a little too long. Something passed between us. Recognition, maybe. Or curiosity. I don't know. All I knew was that, for the first time in a while, my heart didn't feel mechanical. Over time, I started to notice the subtle things. The way she'd play with her hair when I was near. The soft shift in her tone when she said my name. The small, unnecessary excuses to start a conversation. You don't forget those moments. They feel too intentional to be accidents. Too natural to be planned. And yet, she never said anything. She'd smile, flirt, tease, then suddenly pull back. She'd talk about some guy she used to like, or how men always misunderstand her. There were moments she'd look right at me, and I could swear she wanted to say something, but instead, she'd laugh, change the topic, and act as if nothing had ever been there. That's when I started asking myself the question that every man eventually asks. If she likes me, why can't she just admit it? It took me a long time, and a lot of silence to understand the answer. When a woman feels drawn to a man, it rarely makes sense to her. Attraction isn't a choice. It's a chemical pull mixed with emotional confusion. For her, liking someone means risk of being judged, abandoned, or misread. So instead of confessing it, she hides behind mixed signals. It's her armor. She'll drop hints, subtle touches, playful glances, little compliments, but she'll never hand over the full truth, because in her world, the man who makes her feel too much is also the one who can hurt her most. So she tests you, not out of cruelty, but fear. She wants to know, will you stay if she doesn't? They make it easy. Will you see her without her having to spell it out? Men chase certainty. Women often chase control. When she hides her feelings, she keeps the power dynamic tilted in her favor, or at least balanced. The moment she admits she likes you, she feels exposed, and the balance shifts. You could lose interest. You could pull away. You could see her differently, so she maintains the illusion of being hard to get. She pretends you don't affect her, even when her heartbeat tells another story, because if she acts indifferent, she never has to face rejection. And that's the irony. The stronger her feelings, the more carefully she hides them. Indifference, in her case, is protection, not disinterest. For a woman, saying, "I like you," isn't just about affection. It's about surrender. It means letting someone into her emotional world, a world she's probably guarded for years. Most women have been hurt by men who said all the right things but vanished when it mattered. So she waits. She watches how you handle her moods, her silences, her small tests of patience. She studies whether you want her attention or her truth. Until she's sure of emotional safety, she'll stay in that in-between space. The place where feelings are real, but unspoken. That is why sometimes it feels like she is pulling you closer and pushing you away at the same time. She's trying to measure if you're worth the risk. There's another truth that most men overlook. A woman's pride can be as fierce as her emotions. She might like you deeply, but she also has a reputation to protect, a sense of self-worth built from past pain. Maybe she once confessed first and got burned. Maybe she swore she'd never chase anyone again. So now, even when her eyes give her away, her words won't. It's not dishonesty. It's dignity. And sometimes, that dignity is the only thing holding her together. Here's where most men go wrong. They try to decode, convince, or pressure. But what she's waiting for isn't a demand. It's consistency. If your presence feels calm, if your words match your actions, if you don't flinch when she withdraws, that is, when she starts to lower her guard. You'll notice it not through grand gestures, but through small openings, longer eye contact, deeper conversations, texts that sound a little more personal. She might still deny it if you ask directly, but her energy will change. She'll start showing up differently. Softer, warmer, more honest. In silence, because for her, confession ISN, tabled siling I like you. It's about feeling safe enough not to hide it anymore. Sometimes, she likes the idea of you more than the actual you. The mystery, the challenge, the emotional tension. It pulls her in. But once she gets closer and the fantasy starts fading, fear takes over. She tells herself stories. He's probably not serious. I don't think I'm ready. He'll get bored anyway. She talks herself out of liking you too. Protect the version of herself that doesn't get hurt. And that's why she'll never admit it, not because she doesn't care, but because she's fighting her own expectations. I used to think if two people liked each other, that was enough. But it's not. Sometimes she meets you too soon, when her heart's still healing. Sometimes she meets you too late, when she's built walls too high to climb. And sometimes she meets you right in the middle, when she wants love but doesn't trust it. In all those moments, she might like you deeply, but she won't say it, because timing isn't just a calendar thing. It's emotional readiness. And if she's not ready to be seen, she'll pretend she's blind. There comes a moment after all the talking, teasing, and pretending, when words stop mattering. You'll catch her looking at you differently. Her voice will soften. She'll listen more closely. She'll remember small details you mentioned weeks ago. That's her confession. Unspoken, but loud enough for anyone paying attention. Women rarely admit it directly because words are too fragile. But actions? There. Anos, the way she lingers, the way she remembers, the way she stays, even when it is inconvenient, that is her heart showing itself in motion. Sometimes she won't admit it simply because she knows it can go anywhere. Maybe you're taken. Maybe the circumstances aren't right. Maybe she's scared that saying it out loud will ruin the delicate balance you have. So she keeps it inside, hides it under sarcasm or distance, and lets time fade it slowly. Not because she stopped feeling, but because she chose peace over confession. And that's the quiet tragedy of modern love. So many people who feel deeply but speak carefully. The more she hides her feelings, the more she's trying to protect them. The colder she acts, the warmer she probably feels. And the moment she finally stops trying to hide it, when she has already decided you're safe. But here's the twist. By the time she's ready to admit it, many men have already given up. They take her silence as rejection instead of hesitation. And that's how so many almost love stories die. Not with betrayal, but with misunderstanding. Looking back now, I realize she did like me. She just couldn't say it. Not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't know how to without risking everything. And maybe that's okay. Sometimes unspoken feelings still matter. Sometimes connection isn't about possession. It's about recognition. The quiet knowing that two people felt something real, even if it never found words. Because in the end, what women rarely admit, men rarely understand. She liked you. She just needed you to see it before she could say it.